we had an Optic we were testing from AIMWIN. It was RMR cut. This week, we have an RMSC pattern optic from the same company. Let's see how it does. Last week, I reviewed the PN330 red dot and the WL10GL laser light combo from AIMWIN. This week, we've got the PN330, which is an RMSC pattern red dot for carry guns. Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. We're going to talk about this red dot in this video. I've gotten a lot of RMR cut dots over the years to try out, but most people carry with red dots now on their guns too, and I think that having a red dot on your carry gun makes a lot of sense, maybe more than on any other gun, because whether you even use your sights or not, if you end up in a altercation where you have to pull your carry gun, it's going to be a lot easier. You get much faster sight acquisition with a red dot than you do by aligning your iron sights. Beautiful day, but it sure is windy. I had literally zero complaints about the PN320. In fact, I think it's a pretty good red dot as far as when compared to a lot of the ones that I've reviewed on the channel. The PN330, I do have, to me it has a couple of shortcomings, but for the most part, it is pretty good. And we'll talk about those shortcomings in a minute. But what is it? It is an open emitter reflex red dot sight cut for or built on the RMSC footprint, so it will go on carry guns like a SIG P365 or a Smith & Wesson Shield Plus. Now, you guys might remember when I first bought this Shield Plus carry comp, I tried to mount a Holosun EPS carry on it. In fact, this EPS carry, and I couldn't zero it. And now I've gotten all kinds of comments from people about this gun, this slide specifically, not being at the right angle to be able to use zero a Holosun red dot, which is what this slide should be cut for. Now, I do recognize that RMSC and Holosun K are slightly different footprints, but very slightly. The thing is, this had no issue with that. So already 1 point in the positive for me. Direct mounts to the slide. It mounts very deep on this gun, which is nice. It does have a rear sight built in. So for guns where you lose your rear sight when you mount an optic on them, which is some of the smaller carry guns, well, you'll still have a rear sight. Luckily, the Shield Plus here, I still get my rear sights, but the optic mounts so low in the slide that I can co-witness my standard iron sights through the optic window just fine. Now, when I'm using a red dot, I'm not looking at my iron sights. But it's good to know that if somehow the optic stopped working, that I could use my iron sights. Now, I'm less worried about the optic not working and more worried with an open emitter dot that something might actually block and occlude that emitter. Now, that's not something that I really worry about much. In fact, I even said that in last week's video, that open emitter dots are perfectly fine with me. But the one place that I do think that a closed emitter really gives you a lot of benefits is on a carry gun. And the reason why is this. For a long time, before I got the EPS carry here, I carried a Holosun 407K on that pistol. Well, when you're carrying a gun underneath your shirt, concealed all the time, it fills up with lint. And I was constantly having to clean that thing out. And in fact, I scratched the hell out of the glass on my 407K to where it's still usable now, but it does not look good. And so I approach open emitter carry optics with a little bit of hesitancy. Now, this video is sponsored by Aura. Well, this is my carry gun and this protects me in my life on a daily basis. Aura protects me in my online life on a daily basis. I've been using Aura for over a year now, and they became my online security suite a year ago, and I've been using them ever since. And I really appreciate the service that they give me. It only costs $12 a month, but if you want to try it out for free for 2 weeks, use the first link in the description, aura.com/sawtoothtactical, and you can try it out for 14 days and see if you want to keep it or not. Aura offers you all of your online security all in one place. The biggest thing that they do is they go online, they scour the internet, they scour the dark web, they find anywhere where your information has been leaked, and they submit opt-out requests to any data brokers that have your information, which gets you off of all of those lists, and then your private information isn't being sold anymore to scammers and spammers and other bad actors. They also manage your passwords for you, they protect your home title, they do everything. They give you a VPN, you get 3 bureau credit monitoring, they give you spam and junk mail removal and antivirus software. All of this for only $12 a month. But again, if you want to try it out for free for 2 weeks, 14 days, click the first link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen. That link, of course, is aura.com/sawtoothtactical. So far, so good with the AIMWIN Carry Optic. The little 10-round mag here. So before my little ad segment there, I was talking about how the one place that I think a closed emitter red dot really makes sense is on your carry gun. But you know what the nice thing about this one is? The body of it isn't so deep like it was on my Holosun 407K. So if I did have to clean this glass out, it would be very easy to. I've learned not to use Q-tips. They will scratch your glass, or at least the glass on my Holosun got really scratched from it. So use the actual lens cloth that it comes with. This one, at least you can reach it very easily. And so I don't think that it'll be nearly as much of an issue. The one nice thing about an open emitter dot, it is very low profile. It's not a big mailbox sitting on what is supposed to be a small pistol when it comes to your carry gun. As you can see, it's not really any wider than your gun because the whole point of a carry gun is thin so that it conceals well and is easy and comfortable to carry. But the thing about it is, it actually does have a nice, really big window that's very clear. The glass quality seems to be on par with the PN330 that we reviewed last week, which is very good. This one also has shake awake, which I think you want. Now on a carry gun, I mean, you're gonna be moving, the thing's just gonna be on. But the red dots these days have incredible battery life, even if they're on full time. And when you take it out of your waistband, put it beside your bed at night or in your safe, well, after 5 minutes of no use, it turns off, goes into standby mode, and saves that battery life until you pick it up the next morning and put it back in your holster. So I do think that shake awake is a good thing. It also has a multi-reticle system, just like the PN330 does, meaning that you can use a circle only, a dot only, or a circle dot. Now, on the PN330, I tested it with just the 2 MOA dot. On this one, I've actually been running it with the circle dot. Let's see if we can get it on screen there. It's always hard to know if the camera is going to do it justice, but I like the circle dot for a carry gun. It picks up very quickly, and if you ever do, you have to use this in a defensive situation. You want that dot to show up immediately and not to have to search for it. It's one thing with a bigger gun that you're using at the range. Maybe you want a little more precision out of it. I kind of like just the dot only. But for a carry gun, it is nice to have something big that just shows up on your target, and then you can put rounds downrange quickly and accurately, and that's kind of the whole point. Now, as far as the actual illumination goes, this one gets very bright. We had it out in very bright sunlight while we were doing the testing, and I had zero issues picking it up. It has plenty of adjustment range, and yeah, it's totally visible in broad daylight. This wind is making it really hard to film out here. There it is. So one thing about testing an optic on a carry gun is that I am actually carrying it. So not only did I test it at the range, but I've been carrying this gun with this optic, which means that to an extent I do trust it in case I had to use it to save my life or my family's life. That being said, I did have two little issues with it besides it, being open emitter, which again, I have a lot of open emitter pistol red dots. I don't really see them as a problem. I don't think you need a closed emitter dot. I just think that it's nice on a carry gun because it doesn't fill up with lint. First issue being the battery. There is no side loading battery tray. So like a Trijicon RMR, the battery is on the bottom and then your optic mounts down on your slide and that's what holds your battery in. Not a big deal, especially because the battery life on modern red dots does last so long. But when I need to change this battery, I will have to remove the optic, change the battery, mount it, and re-zero it. Now, in my experience, that re-zeroing process is very easy because, it mounts back in the same spot. And generally, whenever I've had to do something like that, you probably don't even really need to adjust your windage and elevation. But it is something that is worth mentioning. If you do have to change the battery on this, you will have to remount it and at least confirm your zero. Now, it comes with an extra battery, so that's kind of nice. It also comes with screws for mounting it. Unfortunately, it didn't come with the right screws for this slide. And this slide I've found is a pretty standard slide as far as the RMSC footprint and what screws that footprint uses. None of the screws that came in the box for this fit this slide. They're either too small or too big. And the ones that were too small were really fine threads. The screw holes in this were a little bit more coarse. That's what I did. I've been carrying this, the O-Sight S on this gun, which is an enclosed emitter dot, modeled very closely after the Holosun EPS carry. And that optic has done me great so far. What I had to do is I actually had to use the screws that I used to mount this optic. Luckily, because I review so many pistol optics on this channel, I had plenty of pistol optic screws, so it was not a big deal to me. But if you're buying this optic and you don't have 20 extra pistol optics like I do, well, you might not have the correct screws. So I do think that that is something that AIMWIN needs to think about and just make sure that they put maybe more screw options in the box because the options that they had did not work for me. Shield Plus Carry Comp comes with a 10, a 13, and a 15 round magazine. The 15 is definitely my favorite. So besides those two shortcomings, what did I think of the experience of actually using this optic? I think it's actually pretty dang good. For one, for it being a carry size optic, being a very small optic, the window size is actually pretty big. Sometimes on pistol red dots, especially ones meant for carry size guns, I feel like the window is really small, which technically shouldn't make a difference as long as your fundamentals are correct and that you present your pistol right every time so that your dot comes into your window. But, in a stressful situation, which is what it would be if you ever had to use this thing, you might not, fall back on your perfect fundamentals. And so having a bigger window, and again, also having that circle dot reticle, makes it just easier to find your reticle every time you present this gun. Smaller guns generally recoil a little bit more, a little more snappy. This one at least has a compensator, which makes up for it, and really it's not even all that small. We're talking a 4-inch barrel and a 15 round capacity with this extended mag, which is literally the same size as a Glock 19, just thinner. But even just that bit of making it thinner just makes it feel a little bit more snappy than this one, which is what I shot right before it at the range. Same size gun in these dimensions, but that felt a lot softer. Yes, that has a big comp on it as well. My point being, without having a really good grip on the gun, it's easy to lose your dot in the window in rapid fire strings of fire with a pistol red dot on a micro, carry gun. I didn't find that to be an issue with this really, and I was able to follow the reticle really easily and transition from target to target very easily as well. It doesn't have any kind of weird refresh rate where it flickers when you move it around or anything. I mean, it is totally solid, and the sight picture actually looks really, really good. The PN330 is a very easy optic to use. You have one button on either side that are nice and tactile, up, down, to adjust your brightness. Super easy to deal with, super easy to use. I like that. I don't like auto adjust on my red dots, and any red dots that have that as a feature, I program that mode out. I like to be able to manually adjust them because if I'm indoors, I'm going to use it as, a nightstand gun. I might turn it down a notch or two. But as soon as I want to carry it outdoors or go to the range in bright sunlight, I like to turn that thing up so that I could pick it up and see it easily. And so these buttons worked very well for me. Now, as far as window glass quality, there's no noticeable notch filter that changes the color of anything or anything like that. I don't notice any fisheye or any weird aberration around the edges of the lenses. I think the glass quality seems very, very good. And so does the build quality. 7075 T6 aluminum. Totally solid. This one might be 6061. I can't remember reading them, but it's aluminum. Made out of the same stuff your AR is made out of, which is really nice. And it also has, you see how it is shaped up here. So the Trijicon RMR has a patent on the top shape of their optic. But that shape makes it very strong, very durable in case it's dropped. This doesn't have that exact shape because there is a patent there, but it has a similar thing to where, it's just stronger on the corners where it might hit. I think that's probably a good thing. Now, do I go around dropping my guns all the time? No. Sealy has sent me a few optics in the past that they wanted me to torture test. So I dropped those guns on the optic. I don't normally do that. I don't really find a reason for that. I don't think any of us go around dropping our guns on purpose. If you did happen to drop your gun and the optic broke, reach out to customer service or buy a new optic. To me, that's not the biggest deal in the world. I want my optic to be durable, but I'm not using it as a frickin' hammer. And I think that this optic seems to be perfectly fine. Now, besides those couple little shortcomings I said, being the bottom mounted battery and not having the right screws, everything else about this I like a lot. It was very usable. In fact, more usable I would say than many smaller micro pistol red dots, just because that window size is nice and big, and I do like the circle dot reticle on a carry gun like this. So for the most part, I found this to be very usable and pretty dang good. And I'm going to continue to carry it on this gun until I have any kind of reason to change it. And if I do have any kind of problem with this optic, well, then I will do an update video and I'll let you guys know. If it just continues to work great, which is what I expect, after reviewing a lot of these pistol optics, I would say I've had a 10% failure rate on them, and that was one of the cheaper ones that failed. Most of these pistol optics that I've reviewed work really well now. I think that they have figured out this technology pretty dang well. They've figured out how to make good, durable optics that work well at a pretty good price point, and I think that this is definitely one of those. But let me know in the comments if you guys have used any of the AIMWIN optics, whether the PN330 here, the PN320, their lights, or any of their stuff. I want to know what your experience has been, because before they sent these out to me, I had actually not heard of the company, but I've been pretty impressed with the quality of their products, which is why I've done videos on them 2 weeks in a row. They seem to be decent to me. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Make sure you subscribe to Sawtooth Tactical. And from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.